All right, welcome in everyone. It's Friday. Total bases. We should have filmed the last 6 minutes backstage. We started the show without you guys, but we'll make sure we rehash what we were talking about here over the next hour. Your go-to show for Major League Baseball free picks on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. And it's a Friday, 15 games, so no time to waste here. Bryan Leonard backstage said we got to hit this game. I said let's hit it off the top. And of course, we have to touch on it because the Miami Marlins ruined the parlay yesterday. TB's leg early in the day was a no-doubter. Bryan got the push in a 7-0 win with the Pirates. And for the second time this year, guys, we were sitting there ready to cash a parlay with the Marlins having a very large lead. If you remember the other time, it was when they were up 6-0 against the Padres and couldn't cover +1.5. But last night, a 6-2 lead. And they let that one slip away at the end. And what we were talking about backstage a little bit was, the Marlins are starting to play big games now. They're only 6.5 games out of the wild card, even with the loss yesterday. So at what point does that start to creep in? And, 2 months ago, they're just able to go out and do what they want to do. Now it's like there's a little bit of expectations here, and it's a young team. So, Bryan Leonard, you wanted to look at Marlins Braves. What are you looking at in this matchup?
Yeah, the first thing I wanted to look at was because of what happened last night, the way they lost, I wanted to find a way to come back on Miami here. And they do have Edward Cabrera going, who has held the opposition to 2 runs or less in 9 of his last 10 starts. He's been terrific as of late. And as I'm sitting there waiting for the show to start, I'm seeing the line get hit. And then I told you, I said, we're going to have to start off with this to make sure we get some piece of Miami here. So this is going to be my first part of the parlay. And I've never started a show off this way, but a lot of people look like they're thinking the same way I am on this one. So we want to make it to our advantage and getting the best line possible. I want the first half in this one. It was 1:30 when before the show started. Now it's 1:35, but there's a big pitching mismatch here for Miami. Miami overall is basically about a 120, 129 favorite here with Cabrera against Elder, a guy that we've had a lot of success fading all season long. The total in this one is 8, but I like the first half. I'm going to lay an extra nickel and get it up to 135 and play Miami here. I talked about Cabrera, what he's done lately. If you look at what he's done on the season, 3.24 ERA, 3.82 expected, 1.19 whip. And really, if you followed his career, he has had, this is now in his 5th season, he has had double-digit walk rates every year. In fact, his best walk rate was 11.2%. Now he's down to 8.2. He's getting some control, and that makes him so much better. And his four-seamer is he only throws it 13% of the time. So he's got the curve, the change, the sinker, and the slider. He's got solid 5 pitches here, and he throws them faster than everybody else. In fact, his change is at 93.9 as opposed to right-handed pitchers' average of 86.6. So he's got solid pitches all around, and he throws the ball faster. The only negative would be a hard hit rate of 23%, but, the barrel rate's league average, whatever, at 49%. His walk rate finally below league average. I like Edward Cabrera, and I like this Miami team. And as we talked about, he's going up against Bryce Elder, who is not a guy I'm looking to back. Last year, he had a 6.52 ERA when 10 starts. This year, he's got a 6.03 ERA in 18 starts. His whip has been horrendous. Last year, 1.63. This year, 1.56. The only thing he's good at is his ground ball percentage in the 78th percentile. Everything else is in the blue. Expected batting average, 2nd percentile. Expected ERA, 5th. Hard hit rate, 13th. Extension, 18th. And we've got an Atlanta team, as I mentioned going into yesterday, that the only guys that were hitting well were the guys that really don't hit for power. All the power guys are slumping. Now, they did have some success. I believe they hit a couple home runs yesterday, so maybe they're coming out of the slump. But it's going to be tough to beat this Miami team. This is a team now that is being talked about. And I had lunch with a friend a couple of days ago, and he said, "What's with this Miami team?" And I said, "Hey, you need to watch the show, man. We've been on Miami all year long. We made a lot of money on Miami. I like this team. This was the game that I had circled. And unfortunately, I didn't give it out last night with the better number, but I'm going to use it here as my parlay. Miami first half -135.
Yeah, guys, go to our page at wagertalk.com and see what we have offered. We usually put free plays out too. So just a 5-minute check, you can pick up some free plays from all three of us. I'm on a pretty good run right now. I'm number one in the last 3 days, 7 days, and in 2025. So I'm kind of feeling it right now. And I have a MLB play out today. I'm sure my brethren here will have something out as well today, because there's lots of juicy matchups today, including this one. My cap for this one is pretty much the same as yesterday. Miami has almost every advantage here, but they even have a bigger starting pitcher advantage today than they did yesterday, in my opinion. Bryce Elder has horrible numbers against these guys in his career. He's got in his career 391 batting average against and a 938 OPS. That's terrible. It's 200 points over my my Mendoza line for OPS. And let's see. Miami's got the better bullpen, in my opinion, even though they pretty much choked it away yesterday. Cabrera's got a couple red flags as far as I'm concerned, but his red flags are not nearly as big as Elder's red flags. And Miami's hitting the ball better in current form. So I don't think there's any other way you could go but Miami today. I'm actually happy they lost yesterday, because it's you'll probably get even a better number and they'll have a little more motivation to win the game today. So yeah, I agree with Bryan. That would be the way to go.
A couple weeks ago, about a month ago, when we were talking about the All-Star game and the flawed process of selecting All-Stars, the other thing that's a flaw with that is the fact that it's essentially only based on the first half of the season, right? Like, how, you know what I mean? We pick an All-Star team and we call a guy an All-Star, but it's only based on the first half of the season. And I just, every time he comes up, I ask myself, like, how much mileage is Bryce Elder going to get out of that 2023 All-Star selection? Because it was basically like the best couple months of his career. And I don't know that he would still like be in the mix at the big league level the way he is if it wasn't for that like couple month stretch, which somehow got him on an all-star team. Because not only is he just not, and I'm sure he's a great guy. And I don't like to like talk negatively about, it's like in real life, he's probably a great guy. So I'm not like hating on him as a person, but like that, like, he's just not that good. Like, he's just that I feel like his ceiling is like AAA innings eater guy that's going to like, he's probably a pretty good pro guy you want to keep around in your organization, but not someone you should be running out at the big league level at the rate that the Braves have run him out the last couple of years. I mean, listen, yeah, every team gets in a pinch, you need to start. Yeah, he's probably a good guy to do that, but Bryan references the StatCast page all the time. Baseball Savant, best website there is. Should always be looking at that. Literally the bottom percentile in a lot of categories. And that's like, it's not the end all be all, but it's usually pretty accurate. Like when guys are in the bottom 1% of like starting pitchers and it's like prominent throughout their page, not a very good starting pitcher. Like you can pretty much take that to the bank in a lot of cases. And I think you could do that with Elder. Tokyo Brandon talked about Elder's numbers against the Marlins. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Of course they have good numbers against him, because not only is he someone I think you'd be willing to play against, but the Marlins have probably seen him quite a bit now, because the Braves have been running him out there for years at this point. So even these young Marlins, some of which didn't get up to last year or earlier this year, have a little bit of a sample size against him. So that's a plus in the Marlins category as well. Finally, Cabrera's a guy, he's on the other end of the spectrum where he's had some struggles at times. It's typically command related, but when he puts it together, he's awesome. And if he could ever put it together consistently, we're talking about him like we've talked about like Sandy Alcantara for the Marlins the last few years. I'm not saying he's going to win a Cy Young, but that's probably where his upside is in that organization. So yeah, Marlins is on my short list today. Love that Bryan put it in the parlay. The final thing I'll say about this Marlins team, though, is what we talked about a little bit off camera, where now they're going to start to play some big games. Now there's some expectations. And instead of getting like plus 110, you're suddenly getting -1. You're going to have to lay -115, maybe even -120 on a daily basis in spots like this. So something you have to consider. Mark Kinson says, those goddamn Marlins, I'm going right back to them today. Don't disagree with that. I think that's the play in this game. So good luck if you take the Marlins tonight. And hopefully, for our sake, Bryan gets it done for the parlay, which is we need to win one of these. Jose, he said, yeah, you see why I said first 5 for the fish yesterday. Yeah, that ended up playing out correctly. And that would be the one thing I think Bryan makes a smart read on going first 5. Their bullpen is definitely tired. They've logged some innings the last few days, and it's notable. So take that into consideration. All right, moving on. Couple people want to talk about this game. Mark Martin, welcome in. I don't know if I've seen Mark comment before, so if you're new or if I've missed you, welcome in. Appreciate the comment. And as always, like and subscribe to the Wager Talk YouTube channel. But Mark says the Yankees hitters have a good history against Brown. Was about to play Brown's strikeouts until I saw that. So let's talk about these two teams. Astros, Yankees, Bryan Leonard. This is suddenly a huge series for two teams that have kind of been on a little bit of a swoon coming into this weekend. It's at Yankee Stadium. I still really like Hunter Brown, though. How are you seeing this one? It's our guy, Cam Schlittler, Hunter Brown, Yankee Stadium tonight.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, I'm not going to. I'll call him Cam. I do want to point out, you were talking about the All-Star game. David Fry for the Guardians made the All-Star team last year. 3 months of great baseball for him in his entire career, and it all happened in 1 year. Brown against Cam. This game, the opening line made a lot of sense if you take a look at the two starters overall. Houston was a 130 favorite. You can get the Yankees at 110. A lot of money's coming in on the Yankees, and I don't blame them. I thought there was some value on New York playing at home, and I'm not the guy that plays the Yankees very often because you just don't find betting value in them. But for that line to move to where the Yankees are now either a pick'em or a slight favorite in this game, I can see that. Total on that is 7.5. So they expect a low-scoring game here. Hunter Brown's stats, he's been terrific. We love him. He 2.47 ERA, 3.01 expected, 0.98 WHIP. Normally, when you find an ace, and I noticed this years ago, when you find an ace and money comes in early against him, that is a good bet on going against that pitcher. And so that has me interested in the Yankees here. Brown, we've talked about him many times, just an excellent pitcher. A lot of success all season long. His last 2 starts have been much better. He played the Red Sox, gave up 1 run in 7. Played the A's, gave up 1 run in 5. But before that, he struggled a little bit, giving up 3, 4, and 6 as prior 3 starts. But he seems to be back on track here. But I think there's value here on the Yankees. Ham comes in with a 4.58 ERA, 5.01 expected, 1.68 WHIP, which is really worrisome. Fastball velocity in the 94th percentile. Those numbers come around. Doesn't take as many pitches to get solid numbers on that, along with the extension. He's only, keep in mind, he's only pitched 19.2 innings, so a lot of his numbers are still not enough opportunities, not enough pitches thrown, not enough batters faced to get actual usage numbers out of them. So we don't have a lot of that going, but he's a guy who does have 5 pitches. He only throws a sinker and a sweeper less than 10% of the time. He's a major 4-seam guy. 57% of the time he throws the 4-seamer, which I normally don't like, but he throws it at 97.8 miles an hour, which is about 3 miles an hour more than a normal righty. He can get away with that. So they're going against this Houston team right now that is fighting it out with the Yankees, and Houston's trying to hold off the opposition. The Yankees trying to get back in the wild card race. They are barely holding on right now, fighting it out with Texas, Seattle. So this is going to be a nice wild card run through the rest of the season. But I like the situation of going against the A's. The money's come in on that, and this is all early money. A lot of these guys are betting it as early as they possibly can and to get a piece of it. And I agree with that. I like the Yankees here. And I would say if you do like them and continues to get hit, if you do like the Yankees, get them now as opposed to later.
I'm not sure I can agree because, man, I think Brown is a pretty good pitcher, and I think Schlittler is a pretty bad pitcher. But actually, looking a little closer, Schlittler in his last few starts, he's basically giving up 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs. It's not that bad actually, but his WHIP is really high, which tells me that I think he's been getting a little bit lucky. I have the Astros hitting just a little bit better, not a lot, just a little. But I have the Yankees with a bullpen advantage. So it's kind of deadlocked for me here in this matchup, except for starting pitching. I got Hunter Brown ranked in the top 20 of all starting pitchers. And the Yankees just seem really dead. Something's wrong with them. I don't know if they're feeling the pressure. I think it's pretty hard to play in New York, perhaps. I think they're feeling some pressure here. They dropped to 3rd place in the ranking. They're behind Boston and Toronto now. So, yeah, they do have a slight bullpen advantage as far as recent form, despite their moronic manager trotting Williams out there to close games despite his 6+ ERA. So we'll see how it goes. But, man, I think it would be hard to trust the Yankees, but I'm not going to play this game.
Yeah, I'm not going to make this any easier because I kind of agree with both of you. Like, I think you both make really good points for this game. So, Tokyo Brandon, you pointed out the Yankees having a bullpen advantage. Like, I actually, even though the numbers might not suggest it recently, like, I very much agree with that because I think when you look at this collection of relievers, you have to look and say, like, all of these guys, when they're on their game, can be very, very good. Right. Like, and we poke fun at Devin Williams' struggles and stuff. And yeah, like he's having a bad season, but like Bednar, Williams, even Jake Bird, who's went back to the minors for a minute. And then of course the relievers they have there, like if they're all like, there's going to be a point in time where they sort of like are all pitching well at the same time. And then all of a sudden that Yankee bullpen is going to be very tough to score on late. So I don't really know if I want to bet against the Yankees right now. I feel like your opportunity to bet against the Yankees was like the past week or so. This is going to feel like a playoff game in the Bronx tonight. It really will. Like this will have a playoff game vibe to it. Friday night, Yankee Stadium. Two very solid pitchers, 2 teams in the mix. I thought I was going to want to play Hunter Brown here because I'm a big Hunter Brown guy. Really am high. I've been higher on him relative to the market since the very beginning of the season. But like, Schlittler is not a bad. I mean, he's throwing 98 and the league hasn't seen much of him yet. So even though he's given up a couple of runs per start, like he certainly has the stuff and the upside to go on a run where he's throwing 6-7 scoreless innings. So I'm not sure I want to bet against him. I don't really want to bet against Brown. And my gut tells me we're done with the Yankees choking games away for a minute, especially on their home field in the Bronx. I feel like if anything, they're going to steal one that they're, this weekend you watch, the Yankees will steal a game that they're trailing late. They'll feed off that Yankee Stadium magic and they'll walk a game off that they're trailing late. I love Hunter Brown. I wish I had more to offer here. I just think this is a tough one. It's going to be a great watch. This is like going to be playoff vibes here, but I don't know how you really go. I don't really know how you really play either side here. So tough one for me. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I will say, other than the former Pirate that had to throw 42 pitches the other day, 2 days ago for the Yankees, everybody else looks like they're going to be available for both teams. The park factors that I look for has this the least, like normally Yankee Stadium's a really good hitter's park, but based on everything going on, the starters, along with the wind directions and everything, they've got the runs expected to be minus 11% over normal for Yankee Stadium. And that is the best pitching environment on today's card. So maybe if you can't play, you bring yourself to play Houston. There's 7.5 out there. Maybe we play the under because both bullpens are very good. I like both bullpens. They might not be pitching great right now, but the talent level is there. And I think both these starters can get the job done. So either play team totals under or play the game under. But it should be a good low scoring game here between Houston and the Yankees. And as you mentioned, it's very important for both these teams to get on a nice winning streak.
Yeah. And also Marquin's in the chat. Listen to him, smash that like button. Doesn't cost anything. All we ask, likes and subscribes on the Wager Talk YouTube channel, and maybe a comment if you feel like doing so, because we very much appreciate it. All right, moving on. I wanted to Jack Frost here in the chat says Orioles A's over 9.5. Kind of the other thing we were talking about backstage before the show. I feel like the panel is going to agree with you, and I've got an opinion on the side here. So kick us off, Bryan Leonard. He wants to know over in this game. Are you seeing runs at Camden Yards tonight?
Yeah, that's the first thing I looked at. Was I thought it would be a higher scoring game. We're looking again in Sagano. Sagano's basically about a 110 favorite. Total of 9.5 to the over, maybe 120, upwards of 120. But you could probably, like right now, Pinnacle is 112. So shop around on that. But yeah, I agree. Again, against Sagano, I do like the over here. And let's take a look at these two pitchers. Ginn, I think, has a nice future. He hasn't put it all together yet. He's got a 4.28 ERA, 3.56 expected. So he's due for some little bit better luck. 1.26 WHIP. The team is off of a shutout yesterday, and that definitely helps. They had a great start, and that helps the bullpen in here. So that's the one concern is the bullpen is healthy, but the A's bullpen is not very good. The Orioles bullpen is not very good. So you're getting healthy guys that aren't very good. Take a look at, again, his ground ball rate, 88th percentile, which is very good, especially in this ballpark since they moved the fences in about 13 feet. His extension, 73rd percentile, but his hard hit rate, 4th percentile, chase rate 22nd, barrel rate 27th. He can be hit. So he may not give up the home runs with that ground ball rate, but he can be hit hard, and we'll see it coming. He is basically a strict sinker slider guy. 84% of his pitches are those two. And when you take a look at his miles an hour on both the sinker and the slider, they're basically league average. So he's not going to blow you away. I like him in the long run. I think he's turning himself into a better pitcher, but I don't want any part of him today. Sagano's been up and down, 4.42 ERA, 5.85 expected. He has had the luck that has not been had by his opposing pitcher, 1.32 WHIP. Brandon talked about him earlier this season. It's obviously his rookie season in Major League Baseball. And he got off to a pretty nice start. People didn't know him. Now they're finding out about him. And he's showing that he's a fringe Major League pitcher. Walk rate is very good, 85th percentile. He only walks 5.9%, but he only strikes out 15.5. So you're getting less than 10% strikeout minus walk. But here's some really bad numbers from him. Expected ERA, 4th percentile. Expected batting average, 2nd. Whiff rate, 7th. Strikeout rate, 7th. Barrel rate, 6th. Yes, he doesn't walk a lot of batters, but he does give up a lot of hits. He has 6 pitches he throws, at least 11%, which you got to like. He's a crafty veteran. He's 35 years old. And having a lot of pitches is good. But when you take a look at him, every pitch he throws, other than his sweeper really, and in his split, are below league average. So he's not going to beat you with velocity. I think even with the young A's, I think they'll be able to get to him here. If you take a look at how these teams have played in the last 14 days offensively, the Athletics have a 145 WRC plus, which is right behind Toronto, who just came back from Colorado and crushed them. But Baltimore is 5th at 124. It's tied with Philadelphia. So we got two teams hitting very well, and we got two pitchers, at least at this point, I want to fade. The line, yes, it is. 9.5. There's actually a 10 under out there right now, and I think we're going to see more 10s pop up. So if you do like this over, grab it now and make sure that that number 10 is the winner instead of a push.
So at Wager Talk, not only do we do this live show, but many of the baseball cappers put up individual game video free picks. And if you subscribe to Wager Talk, you can get notified when people put those out. So subscribe to our channel and also leave a comment on the replay of this video and show Wager Talk that you support what we're doing here. It means a lot to us. You might not realize it, but zero money and very little effort can help us out a lot. So on to this game. To me, Ginn is kind of an X factor here because he's only got 20 innings on the road and 20 innings at home. He's actually pitching better on the road right now, but the sample size is so small. I don't know if I can believe it. So I'm going to leave him out of the cap here. But the A's are hitting like crazy, man. They got a lot of young guys, a lot of young guns in that lineup, and they can smash. Sugano, not enough sample size to really judge him against these batters, but he on the overall he ranks 21 out of 30 on a curve of 30 of all starting pitchers. Not very good. He's in the bottom 1/3 of pitchers, and the Orioles bullpen is below average. They've been below average almost the whole season. So what do you do when you have the number 4 run producing lineup in great current form against a bottom 1/3 pitcher and a below average bullpen? Probably do what I did yesterday and bet the A's team total over here. That would be the only way I would go here. I don't know enough about Ginn to know if he's going to get smashed by the Orioles. The Orioles bats are a little bit cold right now in current form. So, yeah, if you're going to take an over in this, I would take the A's. I would even take them on the money line, but again, the starting pitcher is a little bit of an X factor for me. So I'd go A's team total over here.
Yeah, I can't, there's going to probably be runs in this game. Both teams, so I was pulling up season-long WRC plus against right-handed pitchers, and I'll frequent this page probably a couple times a week, maybe almost daily is, I'm checking this, but at least a few times a week. And all season, the A's and the Orioles have essentially been in the top 10 of the entire league in WRC plus versus right-handed pitching. And then if you want to take it a step further, the Orioles collectively as a team hit far better at home. So this should set up for this is a decent setup for the Orioles to score some runs because Ginn is a right-handed pitcher and they're at their home ballpark where they've hit far better than they have on the road this season. And that makes complete sense because Camden Yards is one of those parks where, like, for the most part, hitters, like just hitters in the league that aren't on the Orioles, will tend to mention that park as a very favorable hitters park. Great backdrop. It's like the green wall back there. They always talk about Coors Field, obviously, Chase Field, but Camden Yards comes up as a place that players tend to like to hit. So that doesn't surprise me at all. So you have the dream setup for the Orioles because you have at home right-handed pitching. Now the A's have this is a great setup for them as well because they've absolutely smashed right-handed pitching this year. The A's are currently, they come into play today with a 106 WRC plus against right-handed pitching. The only teams better than that: Cubs, Diamondbacks, Blue Jays, Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Mariners, Phillies. It's pretty good company right there. And then the A's are in that group with a 106 WRC plus. So that's solid. And Sugano's a guy that I've really thought we were going to see more regression out of so far than we have. So I wanted to make a case here for the A's, but I'm a little concerned about Ginn. So maybe the over is the way to go. And the over didn't get there in yesterday's game because the A's shut down a Nationals team that's just not a very good team at this point. I don't know if I can see the A's winning in a shutout again. So chances are if Tokyo Brandon's team total gets there with the A's, this one's probably gotten over the full game total as well. So that's how I'll lean in this one. Full game over A's Orioles. Okay. All right. Steve Duke says, I like how Bybee I thought he wanted to talk about Tanner Bybee, and he probably does. And it spell checks as Bible. That's what he's saying. And Deep Fry Ty also put Bible in, but we know he means Tanner Bybee. We know he means Bryan Leonard's Cleveland Guardians, who made me eat my words this week. Thankfully, I didn't eat any money because I didn't bet any game of their series. But how about the Guardians going into Citi Field and smacking around the Mets? Bryan Leonard, are the Guardians in this thing now? And how are you seeing this weekend playing out? Also, how do you see the matchup tonight?
I have lost more money on my hometown Cleveland Guardians in the last month than I have lost on any other team. In that Mets series, I kept betting Cleveland scoring under. They're playing in a great pitcher's park against the best pitchers that they have faced since the All-Star break. And I lost every single one of them. If you remember back when they played Houston, I got my ass kicked there. So I will give you the numbers. I'm not going to give you my opinion because obviously right now I'm completely lost on the way this Cleveland team is playing. Bibby's going against Savali. Bobby's about a 138, 140 favorite. Totals 8 to the under, or 8.5 to the under, or 8 even money. Bobby's been so up and down, and the problem you have with Cleveland pitchers overall is I don't like the job that the manager's doing. He did a really nice job last year. He's keeping his starters in too long. He's done it with a couple of these young guys earlier in the week. When he had the 6-0 or the 5-0 lead in the game, I had the other day that I had Cleveland under. I understand why he kept one of the young guys in, but the guy gave up like 3 runs the next inning. When you got a 5-6 run lead, you're going to let the guy pitch a little longer, but he keeps letting these starters go through the third time through the order, and it works. It's been working out for Williams. Williams is playing great right now, but Bobby gets to that third trip through the order and he's getting hit. So if you do like Bobby, I see people out there that use like a 3 innings. Some places let you play the first 3 innings. I've never played it. That would be a way that I would go if I wanted to play Cleveland. But they are playing Savali, and he's played with Cleveland. Cleveland knows what he's got. So I think they should be able to have some success against him. And the White Sox really aren't hitting well right now. We talked about this the last few days, where the White Sox seem to be in one of those little slumps, and they've been great since the All-Star break, but they're struggling a little bit now. But I just can't trust this Cleveland team. I just don't think they're that good. We'll see. I will not be involved in this game.
Yeah, in the chat, there's a grammar debate here. I don't disagree. Somebody says that's a double negative. It is not a double negative. Disagree is not a negative. Although the sentiment is negative, grammatically speaking, it is not a negative word. So I don't disagree is grammatically correct. I'm a language major. So I know these things. But anyways, let's get on to baseball. Man, the first thing I did was compare how these pitchers do against the other batters. And Savale, I've never been a huge fan of his, but man, he dominates these Cleveland batters. He dominates them. How bad? 138 average against and a 422 OPS against. That's domination. Tanner Bybee has a 294 average against and a 793 OPS against the White Sox. So how do we make money on this information? Taking a look at, I have the White Sox hitting number 12 in current form out of 30 teams, and I got Cleveland hitting 15. So slight advantage to the White Sox. Cleveland's bullpen has a big advantage here. So how would I approach this? Well, I think the White Sox first 5 innings would be the best way to go here because Cleveland has a bit of a bullpen advantage. Although the White Sox bullpen is not terrible. I got them ranked 12 in current form out of 30 teams. So maybe the full game for White Sox, but either way, find some way to play Savali today because I don't think he's going to give up a lot of runs. So whether you play his earned runs under or you play the Cleveland team total under, one of those I think will get through today because he's been really good against these batters.
I just wanted to ask you, how far along is that Savali? Because he pitched for Cleveland for a pretty good amount of time. Were those before he pitched for Cleveland or
it's his
after?
whole career, entire career.
So you can't break it down to what he has done in the last 2-3 years. Okay,
I cannot.
All right.
Yeah, but he's got 58 at bats against. So whether those were this year, last year, or the year before, I have not separated that.
So Tokyo Brandon, I agree with your grammar thing. and I don't disagree, is perfectly acceptable grammar. I was
Yes, it
once
is.
upon a time an English major at Siena College. And
Hmm.
it's basically a way to just like toe the line a little bit. You're like, yeah, I see what the point you're making, but whereas I agree is like I'm strongly it's just a much stronger way to say it. So perfectly fine. And that's kind of, I agree with your language assessment. I don't disagree with you liking the White Sox, but I guess like we manifested that sweep a little bit for the Mariners. I feel like we talked about it earlier this week, and I kept looking for the spot to play the White Sox in that series, and I can't. And I've been the biggest White Sox supporter all year on this show. White Sox 1.5, White Sox 1.5, always looking for spots to play it, and I can't help but think that this could be the run where the White Sox lose 6, 7, 8 games in a row. Like, I don't know. It's just like these young teams. We've seen it happen to the A's. We're seeing it with the Nationals. The White Sox came out of the break so hot, playing such good ball. And hey, they battled yesterday. They got to extra innings. They fall short. Now they got to come from Seattle to Cleveland. That's never easy to do. And Seattle to Chicago, Seattle to back home. It's never easy to do. And, it's just like one of those things where I feel like I'm going to need to see them win. Now, the market likes this because when I jotted this down pre-show, I had White Sox plus 1.5 was like minus 110, minus 115. This is all the way up to minus 140. Is that what Odds Logic has, Brian Leonard? Let's plug Odds Logic real quick. Great. I feel like that's the best odds software for your money out there. Some of them are very expensive. Odds Logic is fantastic for the price point, and it's something that we're going to continue to plug on this show. What are we seeing White Sox plus 1.5 at now?
Yeah, actually, Johnny, I talked about it yesterday. They made some updates, so it's even better than it was before. They're basically a 140 favorite in that range.
Yep.
The 8.5. Yes.
So like that's the thing. Plus 1.5, and it's like so that I'm completely out on that because there's no way I'm going to pay $1.40 for that. On the flip side, I'm with Bryan. Like thankfully I've stayed out of a lot of these Guardians games because if I've been involved, I'd be burning money left and right because they are a team I very much want to bet against. I don't think that this team is going to hang around in the playoff mix. It's hard to fathom what they just did at Citi Field. But again, I just don't know that this is the spot to play against Cleveland. Savali's not really the guy I want to back in this rotation either, even though he's had a little bit of a resurgence since coming over from Milwaukee. So, Roke Energy says White Sox are live. I can't say they're not, but I want to see, I need to see him win a game because my gut tells me that if they don't win one, this could end up being a 7 or 8 game losing streak. And I don't want to be on them while they're doing that. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that Cleveland was probably back in Chicago before Chicago was. They had the extra inning game coming from Seattle, whereas Cleveland had the day off. So they had to use, the White Sox had to use a lot of their pretty good relievers yesterday. That is a concern when you're playing that. I'm completely lost on this game. I've lost all my faith in picking a Cleveland game right now until I can get it back together. I take my analysis with a grain of salt.
Brian, while you have Odds Logic up, do me a favor. What is the total in that A's Orioles game right now?
You can still get over 9.5 at minus 125 or over 10 at like minus 110. So,
all right, for the parlay, I'm going to go over 9.5 minus 125 for the parlay. If you cannot get that at your book, over 10 is fine. But we'll do minus 9.5. Almost anyone that's betting on legals should be able to parlay a 9.5 there somehow. So that's what we're going to call it. I'm going to add my parlay leg now. I did see it start to move a little bit. I just thought all of our breakdowns made so much sense. And I need to switch it up. I can't have like the Marlins choking leads away and stuff. So I'm going with a total today. A's, Orioles over 9.5 will be my leg of the parlay. And then TB will lock one in over the next 20 minutes. We still have 20 minutes to get some games in, and we'll figure out what his leg is as well. Yeah, Mark Kinson's like, Adam, fix the focus on your camera. It is. Let me see here. Let me try the white paper trick. Hold on. Let's see if this works. Are we back? Did it work? So apparently, if you hold a white piece of paper over the lens, it's supposed to refocus it. If I refresh, it's going to mess everything up. So I'd rather talk about baseball blurry for the next 20 minutes than cost us 2 minutes of valuable time fixing my camera. All right, Wolf. I've seen this one thrown back and forth. He says that the Diamondbacks can't be the Rockies. I'm not backing them ever again. That is a strong statement right there, especially today, Brian Leonard, because this doesn't look like the worst spot in the world for the Rockies, in my opinion. They kind of feel like a live dog, and maybe at that +1.5, you could consider them. Rockies, since the All-Star break, have had more energy. They've played better ball. Now, you're going to have to throw that Jays series out. But let's be honest, the Blue Jays are a big-time contender, one of the best teams in the league. The Diamondbacks are not that right now. Do you see the Rockies having a chance tonight?
Well, first of all, I disagree with the thought process. When a team is so ugly you don't want to play them, is usually the best time to play them.
Right.
Because nobody else wants to bet them, and they're betting the other side, and you're getting more value for the buck. That said, Arizona struggled, and they've got Zach Gallen on the mound, and there's no way, as much as I hate the road Rockies, the Rocky Road situation here for Colorado, I am not laying 235 to up to 250 on the Arizona Diamondbacks for Zach Gallen. It could end up being what we kind of talked about with Pittsburgh yesterday, laying the high number with the Pirates, and maybe they come out and throw a shutout. But I didn't trust the Pirates batch yesterday. They scored 7 runs. So I ended up pushing it, but I don't want any part of Gallen the way he's pitching right now. About a 240 favorite, and a total of 9 is here. The 9 is actually something I have a slight interest in. Austin Gomber on the mound. He comes in with a 6.18 ERA, 5.21 expected, 1.60 WHIP. He does some things pretty well. His walk rate doesn't walk a lot of batters, 5.5%, which is in the 90th percentile. This is the second year in a row he's been at 5.5%, but he only strikes out this year 13.4%. So you've got a 7.8 strikeout minus walk ratio. That's not good. You go over his StatCast page. In the 10th percentile or less, expected ERA, fastball velocity, chase rate, whiff percentage, strikeout percentage, barrel rate. Now, granted, he does pitch half of his games in Colorado, so you have to take that into account. But he's just not been a good pitcher, and he probably would not make the starting rotation on any other major league staff. Zach Gallen, 5.48 ERA, 4.91 expected, 1.36 WHIP. Normally, you see a lot of red on his Savant page. None. He's got 0 red. Everything is either league average or worse. His exit velocity, 9th percentile, barrel rate 14th, hard hit 14th, expected ERA 17th. I know he did have a couple of decent starts, but he a while back he started the month of July, 7 innings, 1 earned run against the Giants, a team that has not hit well for a month. Then he played the Padres, 6 shutout innings. But then he got bombed, 3 straight starts against the Angels, these Diamondbacks, and the Pirates, 3 teams that have not been hitting very well. And then last time out, he went 6 innings, give up 2 runs to a good hitting and hot athletics team. Is he back? No, I don't believe so. So I think both teams will have some offensive success here. I like the over in this one.
Guys, go check out our pages. I have an MLB play up right now and a free play loaded, and I'm sure my colleagues here will also today, if they haven't already, take the 5 minutes to go check our pages out and leave a comment on the replay of this. It means a lot to us, and it shows Wager Talk you like and support our show, and it doesn't cost you anything. So regarding this game, the first thing that jumps out to me is both of these pitchers absolutely get mauled by the other team's batters. How bad? Gallen has a 307 average against and a 1,000 OPS against. Granted, some of those numbers might be from Colorado's home field, but still, he struggles against these batters. There's no doubt about that. Austin Gomber is just a terrible pitcher, period. But against these Diamondbacks, he's even really terrible. He's got a 296 average against an 899 OPS. So taking a look at that, add to the fact that we have two of the worst bullpens in Major League Baseball here. I don't care who's in the lineup. I expect this to go over 9. And as a matter of fact, that's going to be my parlay piece, is going to be over 9 in this game. I think this goes over 9 easily. I mean, I don't like the fact that it's being played in Arizona because it generally is a pitcher's park. But these bullpens are so bad, and neither one of these pitchers really goes that deep in the game. I think we're going to get at least 8 innings of bullpens in this combined. So I think both lineups can score some runs. And surprisingly, Colorado in current form is ranked 8, but that's probably because they were playing in Colorado. So you got to take that into consideration. Nevertheless, I think a 5-4 game will get you a push, and a 6-5 game will get you a win. So I think that's what we're looking at here.
Bryan, go ahead. Tell me Chase Field's not a pitcher's park. I know.
That kind of shook me. Actually, today Chase Field is plus 8% better than league average. This is a good hitter's park. I don't agree. Your stats may show something. Maybe you can prove me wrong, but it's always known as been a good hitter's park. Maybe it's just that
even better then.
Maybe the Arizona pitchers is just so bad that makes it a good hitter's park this year.
They did. Well, no, I mean, they definitely watered it down. If you remember, they didn't they start doing something to the baseballs in Arizona too?
They do it everywhere now. They all have the
okay.
Yeah.
But that's another one, Tokyo Brandon, that always comes up. If you listen to big league hitters, just like talk, like every once in a while, like what's your favorite ballpark to hit in is a question that it's like a common reporter question to just break the ice with a hitter. Really? Chase Field is always spoken about as like a hitter's dream because they have that huge wall in center field. It's green. There's nothing out there. It's like a perfect backdrop to hit against. So yeah, definitely hitters.
Even professional cappers can learn something by watching this. So I'll stand corrected, and thank you for teaching me that, guys.
Yeah, we're all here to learn, man. We're all here to help each other.
Part of being a capper is not having things fixed in your head and being flexible and being able to adjust along. So I'll adjust that train of thought that I had. But for some reason in my head, I've always thought of Arizona as a pitcher's park. So I don't know why. Honestly, when you just asked me right now and challenged me, I'm like, you know what? I don't know why. I just have that impression. So good to hear.
Well, I don't think you're wrong to like the over. Certainly, think that there could be runs here. I'm going to stick up for our guy Austin Gomber for a minute though, because this is a guy, he shouldn't be in Colorado. He just doesn't get any ground balls. He's a fly ball pitcher, and he pitches at Coors Field, which is, as we know, very difficult on fly ball pitchers. Gomber on the road, ERA is 4.991. The batting average against is almost 100 points lower. I actually think there's some stuff to like about him. He throws a lot of strikes. He's able to generate some soft contact. Now, is he like, someone I'm putting in my starting 5 on most other teams? Probably not. But there's far worse getting run out in the big leagues right now. And one of those guys might actually be Zach Gallen at current time. Zach Gallen in 2025. Now, Zach Gallen, we know over the course of his career, has had some very, very good years. But Zach Gallen right now, not very good. And again, so I think Gomber gets a little bit of a bad rap because he has bad numbers. But a lot of those are Coors Field generated because he's trying to get, he's at his best getting fly balls. And as we know, the ball flies out of that yard. So I really do like the Rockies here. I don't think these two teams as they stand right now with the rosters they have right now, I don't think these two teams are that different. Obviously, there's some better individuals on the Diamondbacks, but when you take off Naylor, Suarez, the pieces that they sort of got rid of, and you look at the teams on the field, this matchup's a lot more even than I think the books are suggesting with this number. So
Mhm.
Rockies plus 1.5 with getting the road team, even money plus 1.5 makes a lot of sense. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I just want to point out with Colorado, yes, the ball flies there. It's the altitude. But the reason why there's so many runs are scored in Colorado is because it's a massive outfield. And so there's a lot more singles, a lot more doubles, and a lot more triples there. Now they do give up the home runs, no doubt about it. But if you're playing in Colorado, you're going to increase your batting average. There's usually a lot of walks because they're not able to throw the breaking pitches because of that. So there's a lot more people on base, and that's why there's so many runs scored in Colorado.
Let me make a point. One thing I liked about this game that I forgot to mention is Marte is 10 for 26 against Gomber. And who else we got? Corbin Carroll, 6 of 13. So they both have OPSs over 1,200. So maybe one of those guys to get a hit run RBI over 1.5 might be a good play as well.
Certainly.
Only good hitters on the Diamondbacks anymore since they lost Naylor and Suarez.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. There definitely could be some fireworks in this game. I think these guys played like a 14-11 game earlier this year. Like there's if you look back at past D-backs Rockies matchups this season, I bet a lot of them got to 9, and if not more than that. Like it should be a high scoring game when you look at the two teams, two pitchers, and what's probably coming out of the bullpen for both teams. So I like that, TB. Okay, Colin Gregory. You're probably right about this. And, we didn't lead off the show with it because we wanted to get that Marlins game out. And this would have been my sort of feature game. So let's make sure we touch it in the final 9 minutes of the show. Blue Jays, Dodgers, game between old vets, game of the day, World Series preview. It's definitely possible because a lot of people, the Dodgers arguably should be there. And a lot of people, including myself, think the Blue Jays are arguably the best team in the American League, if not the best. So, Brian Leonard, is this a World Series preview? We got two big-name veterans that actually haven't faced off, I think, since very, very early in their career, which is interesting here, Scherzer, Kershaw. So how are you seeing the game of the day, Blue Jays, Dodgers?
Yeah, I looked at the same thing, and we're looking at Scherzer against Kershaw, obviously lefty. We're looking at Kershaw about a 140 favorite. 9 to the under. Toronto's, you got to think Toronto's live here. They're hitting really well. Scherzer has got a lot of red on his StatCast page. 4.39 ERA, 3.66 expected. So he's been a little bit unlucky. 1.05 whip. I will say his ground ball rate is in the first percentile. And unlike Colorado, it's a lot of people think it doesn't have a lot of home runs. This stadium is a good home run park. So he may give up some long balls to this Dodgers team that has a lot of power, and now they got their third baseman back. And with glasses, he's a much better hitter, as we've spoken about in the past. But Scherzer's barrel rate in the 12th percentile, and I talked about the ground ball rate, but he's average exit velocity, 89th percentile, walk rate, 94th, hard hit rate, 86. So he only walks 4.9% of the batters faced. That is good. And his strikeout rate, 27.0, which gives him a 22.1 strikeout minus walk ratio. Awesome. How many times do you catch a team hitting like Toronto is and a starting pitcher that's got a 22.1 strikeout minus walk ratio, and you get him as an underdog? I think Toronto has a lot of value here. Kershaw, 3.29 ERA, 3.96 expected, 1.25 whip. Barrel rate, 92nd percentile. Walk rate, 75th. Ground ball rate, 79th. But his fastball velocity is in the 2nd percentile. His four seam, he throws 89 miles an hour. That's 4 miles an hour worse than a normal lefty. If you take a look at his curve, 72.3, 7 miles worse than a normal lefty. And the reason why I mentioned the curveball is when you're that far off, normally we're looking at about a 14% difference between a four-seamer, 14 mile per hour difference, and a curve. His is 17% differential, and they know the curve. He throws the curve 18% of the time. That's what he's known for. He's going to make a Hall of Fame based on his curve. He's gone to more of a slider this year, which is very good. But when you have that much of a differential, you can easily tell when the curveball is coming, and so you can make that adjustment. And I think that's something we need to worry about because, like I said, his fastball velocity, second percentile, chase rate 18th, strikeout percent 5, fifth, hard hit 17th. He's really surpassed anything that I thought he was going to do this year. Hats off to him. I've loved the guy, and especially because he has somehow struggled in the playoffs. A lot of people call him a choker. Playoffs are small sample sizes. The guy's one of the best pitchers of the generation. First ballot Hall of Famer. I love the guy. Not the same pitcher as he was before. I like the underdog here. I think Toronto has got a lot of value here, and you can get them. I'm seeing upwards of 130 in some places, but there's others that are down to 115. But I think Toronto is a nice underdog today.
So this matchup to me looks like two 1979 fiberglass Corvettes racing against each other. Two cars that used to be really shiny and pristine, but which one's going to break down first? Which one's going to vomit first? They're both really talented, like Bryan said, and much respect for both of them, but neither one is what they used to be. I agree with him. Of all the matchups today, this one I have the closest matched, like the least points apart. But the one advantage that Toronto really has in this is the batting. I've got them ranked number 1 in all of Major League Baseball. Now, granted, they just scored 38 runs in 3 games against Colorado in the Rocky Mountains. So that's obviously skewing my numbers. But even before that Colorado series, they were ranked top 5 lineup. They were mashing the ball even before they went to Colorado. And the Dodgers bullpen is very shaky, very unreliable, but so is Toronto's. So, I mean, in current form, not all season, but I have both of them ranked 17 in bullpen. Man, Toronto, they're just mashing the ball. They look like an unstoppable juggernaut. I think they're going to crush Kershaw, but I don't really know what to expect from Scherzer either. So this one's a little bit of an X factor for me, but I certainly, if I had to bet this game, I'd bet Toronto.
Yeah, so I just pulled up WRC Plus against left-handed pitching. The Yankees lead the league in that. I wouldn't have maybe got that off the top of my head. You know who's tied for second? It's these two teams, the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. And only one is facing a lefty tonight, and that's the Blue Jays. And when I look at these two pitchers, I echo the sentiments that you guys have brought up. We don't need to rehash that. So I'm just going to go to the eye test. And when I watch these two throw, and you know, Kershaw's been really good, like better than I could have imagined. But when I watch these two guys pitch right now, I still think Scherzer's got the nastier stuff. Like his stuff is still just, I think it still is just nastier than what Kershaw's got at this point. And so if you've got a lineup in the Blue Jays that we've sung their praises left and right, great at bats 1 through 9. I mean, right down from, you're getting Vlad, you can throw like, whoever's at the top of the order, where it's Luke's, Bichette, and then you can have Ernie Clement down in the 8 hole. And it's like everyone's given a professional at bat. Every out is a tough out. Does not matter who they put in that lineup at this point. 1 through 9, they're having tough at bats. I think tough at bats against Kershaw are going to produce something here. Whereas now the Dodgers, and I wanted to pull up Nabil's comment. He says, these are the games they wake up for. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it is a big game. It's at home. And I do think you're going to see the Dodgers, like, especially in these spots as August and September go on, I do think you're going to see that like big effort from the Dodgers start to really show up. Maybe the effort we haven't fully seen from them this year. And so there is some merit to that point. But I just think, like, when you handicap this game, you look at where the market has this with the Blue Jays as an underdog. And a lot of the chat is saying, like, what's there to even think about? The Blue Jays as an underdog here. I think at the price, you have to like the Blue Jays. You look at their numbers against left-handed pitching, and if you just watch these two guys pitch, who looks more hittable at this point? Forget the numbers. When you watch these guys pitch, who has the more hittable stuff at this point? I really feel like it's Kershaw. And when you're splitting hairs with how good these teams are and how good these lineups are, I think the plus 125 is all you need to know there. I feel like you have to play that value with the Blue Jays or stay out of it. That's how I see this one. All right, it's 10 a.m., which means Tokyo Brain. Oh, no, he locked it in already. Forgot about that. That was like the best pace we had today. Bryan kicked the show off. Middle of the show, I gave mine out. I forgot TB fired his parlay out in that Rockies Diamondbacks game. So while I add this up, I'm going to let TB promote whatever's going on the site right now.
So we have a lot of promotions going on the site. The best thing to do is go to each of our individual pages. Go to wagertalk.com. If you go to experts, or even on the front page, we're going to be there if we have a play up. I already have an MLB play up right now. I'm running pretty hot. Number one in profit last 3 days and last 7 days, and number one in 2025. So things are going well. I do have an MLB play out. Adam and I do Asian baseball, and Wager Talk allows us to sell those for half price. So any day of the week, if we have a KBO or a Japanese baseball out, it's going to be half price as well. So Bryan, you don't have anything out yet, but I'm sure you will today, right? There's lots of juicy matchups.
Yeah, everything today is on the evening card, so we got plenty of time to take a look at it, see who's playing, who's not playing. And I would like to thank you for pointing to the ancient time of 1979, because that was the year I graduated high school.
My mom had a yellow Corvette, and when I was growing up, when I was 16 in 1986, she let me drive it to prom. I did not wreck it.
I had a vet in 1979 too, a Chevette, and it was yellow. First car.
The 70s. Adam wasn't even alive.
I know, and you know what? It's like I wasn't alive yet. I was born. So someone in the comments the other day was like, he doesn't even look 30. I'm actually going to be 40 in July. A lot of people don't realize. I mean, I was born in 1986. So I missed the 70s, but I just finished watching that 5-hour Billy Joel documentary on HBO, which was fantastic. Like, even if you weren't a fan of Billy Joel's music, it's a great watch. It's on HBO. It's like brand new, 2 parts. It's about 5 hours long. And
Adam, I don't think there's anyone who doesn't like Billy Joel.
I know, right? Like, that's like, right,
yeah.
How could you not? And but there's so much good footage from that time period, like the 70s, and like the whole time I'm watching, I'm just thinking like how cool it would have been to be alive like during that time. And obviously, you know, I missed that. But I think I'm a big 90s guy. I always say, like, put me back in the 90s. Like, that would be like where I want to like spend my whole life. But 70s,
New York, you have to love Seinfeld, right?
Yeah, I mean, I caught on to Seinfeld later in life, TV. I was like too young to like where it was like ending when I was like a kid, like a younger kid. So I really didn't watch Seinfeld until I was an adult. And I feel like I had a better appreciation for it because there's so much stuff that even I remember like watching the last season as like,
it's a masterclass.
And there was so much stuff that went over my head that I now understand rewatching it as an adult. So even though I wasn't like obsessed with the show, I've watched my way through it, and I understand why people were such big fans of the show. All right. One more time for the parlay. Well, this lands 5-1. How about that? Just right on the money. 5-1. Obviously, shop it around. It's going to vary book to book. But we have Bryan Leonard, Marlins first 5 money line. And then we have 2 totals. I am on A's Orioles over 9.5. And Tokyo Brandon's going Rockies D-backs over 9. So we need Bryan to get it done with the Marlins first 5. And then we need a boatload of runs in Rockies Diamondbacks for TB and A's Orioles for myself. Thank you guys all for tuning in. We very much appreciate it. If you have a minute, give us a like and subscribe on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Drop a comment. We read them all. We try to respond to them all. I hope everyone has a great weekend. We'll see you guys back here 9 a.m. Monday morning for more Total Bases.